Professor Smart. I'd like to tell you the story of Katherine Johnson, a mathematician. A mathematician is sort of like a magician with numbers. NASA uses computers to put rockets into orbit and also to land them safely with astronauts in them. But did you know that computers used to be people? Yeah, before electronic computers were invented, NASA had workers called computers. People who were skilled mathematicians. These human computers used pencil, paper, slide rules, and mechanical Monroe calculators to compute the flight paths for rockets called trajectories. One of NASA's most famous computers was Katherine Johnson, a Black African American who was born in West Virginia in 1918. She graduated from high school at the age of 14. She went on to West Virginia State University and graduated in 1937 at the age of 19, with degrees in mathematics and French. In 1952, Katherine Johnson was working as a high school math teacher when she heard NASA, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, was looking for mathematicians to work as computers. She was so good at math that she, her husband, and children all moved to Virginia so that she could work at the famous NASA Langley Laboratory. In the 1950s and 60s, NASA's staff was mostly men. The women who worked there were typically office help or secretaries. Even the well-educated and highly qualified women struggled with racism and sexism. In Katherine Johnson's early years at NASA, blacks were segregated and had to work in separate offices from white employees. Thank goodness that has changed. Katherine Johnson brilliantly helped calculate the trajectories for America's first human spaceflight with astronaut Alan Shepard on board using analytical geometry. Why is this so important? Space is huge. It's infinite. If you set a rocket ship on a course away from our planet, it could keep on going forever. Her job was to use math to guide the rockets with powerful rocket engines and astronauts as they orbited the Earth and traveled to the moon and then land them safely back on the right spot. NASA wanted their brave space travelers like John Glenn to land on Earth and at the right location, not 500 miles away. Space travel can be sometimes very dangerous. Houston, we have a problem. These famous words were delivered from the Apollo 13 space mission to the moon, with 3 astronauts on board. There was an oxygen tank explosion that seriously damaged the spacecraft. They had planned to land on the moon, but after the explosion, they had to return quickly to Earth. Katherine Johnson's calculations helped figure out how to bring the damaged rocket ship back to the Earth before the oxygen supply and the fuel supply ran out. She was a bona fide hero. Now, even after NASA started using electronic computers, Katherine Johnson's scientific research on trajectories was used on projects like the Space Shuttle. She received the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2015 from President Obama. She has spent many years encouraging young men and women of all races of the importance of math and science. NASA named a building to honor her work for the American space program. She lived to be 101 years old. There is even a movie that was written about Katherine Johnson and her co-workers. The movie Hidden Figures is such a good movie. Check it out. Katherine Johnson Stories in Hidden Figures. Our researcher and writer today was Amy Gorin, and the fact checker was Cheryl Victor. Thanks for watching Professor Smart's Unboxing Scientists of the World. Please be kind, everybody, and be smart. Bye.